Okay, is this helping at all? Can folks hear me at this point? There we go. Wonderful. Perfect. Apologies. My bar is showing that I'm talking, and there's no way for me to hear me on my end. So I appreciate everybody letting me know. This will not affect the timing of the webinar at all. All right, so I'm going to start over again. I've been talking a whole lot, and you all haven't been able to hear me. So let's start again. My name is Greg Johnson, and I am the program manager for the Intensive Law and Trial program. Welcome, and thank you for attending our webinar. If you have enrolled your student, this webinar is going to be incredibly helpful. If you have not yet enrolled your student, that's fine. Please feel free to stick around and listen in and ask any questions that you may have. We just ask that you go ahead and contact our admissions department after the webinar is over to start the enrollment process. You've already seen these slides, so it's not going to be a surprise. But again, my name is Greg Johnson. I'm the program manager. On the line with us, answering questions in chat, is Jessica Smythe. She is the program coordinator. She helps me in all of our organization and planning, and she'll also be with me whenever we're on site for the program as well. I would tell you all about the dashboard and how to ask your questions, but I can see that you've already figured that out. So the dashboard is on the right. You just click on questions and you can ask questions from there. Any questions that you have throughout the webinar, please feel free to go ahead and post those. And Jessica will be able to answer those as well. But we're also going to have plenty of time at the end in order to answer any questions that you may have. So first up, let's talk about accessing your online information. So again, at this point in the process, you should have already enrolled your scholar. If you have not yet enrolled your scholar, that's fine. But whenever you do enroll your scholar, you should go to envisionexperience.com. In the top right-hand corner of the homepage, you're going to see the login button. Once you click that login button, a dialog box will appear with two different options. If you have enrolled, click Enrolled Student. From there, you're going to be sent to an area to input your login criteria. You should be able to use the email address that you used whenever you enrolled your student, and then whatever password you created whenever you created your account. If for some reason you can't remember that password, just click Forgot Password, and it will start you through the password recovery process. You're then going to be taken to your scholar-specific homepage. In the top right of the page, you're going to click on Enrollment Forms. This is going to load a page that lists all the different forms that we need from you in order for your scholar to be able to attend the program. Some of these forms have deadlines, and some of them also have very specific pre-arrival deadlines that we need to have. So please pay close attention to those deadlines and make sure that you're hitting those required forms. One of the required forms that we need is the mandatory travel form. We need this so that we know how students are getting to and leaving the program. So you're going to be able to choose a few different options, both airport and/or on-site drop-off. Please know that this form is not locked to one submission. So let's say that you choose an airport arrival, and then some things change and you're no longer going to be arriving via the airport. You're going to be dropping your student off. You can go back at any time before the program begins and change that form to private vehicle drop-off. It's also possible to pick two different options, one option for arrival day and another option for departure day. So let's say that you're going to be dropping your student off at the campus on arrival day, but then your student is going to be flying back home on departure day. You can choose private vehicle drop-off for arrival day and then airport departure. Again, you can always go back and reassess that form to revise it should you need to. Under the category Preparing for Your Program, you're going to see the roommate request application. Sometimes we have scholars from the exact same school that attend the Intensive Law and Trial program and would like to be roomed together. If there is someone that is attending the conference and your scholar would like to room with them, please fill out this form. Take note that this is optional, though it does have a hard deadline for completing this request. If your scholar needs to make a room request for anything other than being placed with a specific person, please contact the admissions department. Also note that the roommate request form needs to be submitted by parents or guardians of both scholars. So if your scholar wants to roommate with a friend of theirs from school, you submit the roommate request form. Their friend's parent or guardian also needs to submit the roommate request form requesting that they room together so that we have consent from both parties. The next thing we're going to talk about is the dress code and packing reminders. When you click on the link, it's going to load a PDF file that looks a lot like this. Excuse me. So the dress code is it's pretty well fleshed out. For the most part, scholars are going to be in what we call program attire, which will be relaxed professional. There are a few instances when our scholars will need to be in professional attire. One of those instances is on arrival day. The other instance is on day 9, whenever we go to the San Francisco Superior Court in order to try the case. Most other times, scholars are going to be in relaxed professional, including any and all professor presentations that are given there on Stanford's campus. There are some times that we'll have casual attire as well. We'll definitely be in casual attire the day that we go to Fisherman's Wharf. And then there may be some times whenever, depending on temperature, depending on the overall flow of the day, that we make a determination that we can finish out the rest of the day in casual attire. But making sure that you're packing enough of that program attire or that relaxed professional attire to last for the entire 10 days, as well as 2 professional or career attire dress days is very, very important. In the general information and health category, you're going to find some more required forms. These are a good place to let us know what type of dietary restrictions your scholars may have, any food allergies, any medications that the scholar may be taking. There is also a form that we will need to fill out in order to send to Stanford to make sure that they have a list of all dietary restrictions. And what I do is I will pull the dietary restrictions form offline and then go ahead and fill that out and send it over to Stanford Dietary. We'll talk a little bit about how meals and things of that nature work on campus. So we have one dining hall that is assigned to us, and that's the dining hall that we will use throughout the entirety of the program. It's about a minute and a half walk from our housing site, from the dorm that we're going to be using. In that dietary hall, there's going to be a wide array of different types of foods that you can choose from. Please note, it's not the same type of food that everybody is used to. It is food from a college campus, so it may not be the most flavorful food in the world, but our dining hall is pretty decent, and they do a very, very good job of making sure that all of our dietary needs are met and making sure that they are labeling any and all foods so that scholars can see what the ingredients are in those foods. If they have a gluten allergy, if they have a lactose allergy, all those things will be completely labeled so that you are comfortable in selecting the food that they have there. Should for any reason your scholar not see a meal that conforms to what their dietary restrictions are, please, please, please have them contact someone on our staff. They can talk to their advisor, they can talk to the leads, but they should always make sure that they're letting staff know that they have a dietary need that's not being met, so that we can work with our dietary program at Stanford to make sure that that need is being met. And if for some reason Stanford can't meet it, then we will make sure that that student has food, whether it is through buying food and storing it in the refrigerator on site, and or making sure that that scholar is taken to get food, things of that nature. There are vending machines there on campus that scholars can purchase snacks and things of that nature, and also whenever we go off site to the Fisherman's Wharf, there's plenty of opportunity to buy snacks, things of that nature to have in their rooms. If you do send snacks with your scholar, please make sure to send them nut-free snacks. We do have students that are enrolled in all of our sessions that have airborne peanut allergies. So make sure that any snacks that you send, any snacks that you bring, that you make sure that those are all nut-free. So next we're going to talk about the program schedule and program highlights. So the entirety of our program takes place on Stanford's campus. We will be utilizing Carruthers Dorm, which is centrally located on Stanford's campus. You can see a picture of Carruthers Hall there on your screen. And as well, we will be using breakout space, which is where our advisor meetings take place throughout different areas of the campus, but primarily focused at Stanford Law School. It's a huge honor that Stanford Law School allows us to have our meetings located in their building, and we try and keep that building as clean as we possibly can. So please make sure that we are leaving the rooms just like we found them so that everybody can continue to enjoy using our breakout spaces in Stanford Law School. Before we move on to safety and security, as everybody knows, the program is a 10-day program. We will we'll have a wide variety of different Stanford Law School professors that will be coming out to speak to our students and speaking to them on a wide variety of topics, from client advocacy to how to begin and end an opening and closing statement, all the way to having individuals from various different locations, primarily the Innocence Project, that will come out and deliver our keynote address at the start of the program. We will have all of our meals on site at Stanford, except for one. We'll have one dinner that is held at Fisherman's Wharf. We'll go down to Fisherman's Wharf, I believe it's on day 7, and spend the evening kind of seeing the sights of San Francisco and having a meal off-site. The only other time that we leave campus is whenever we go to the San Francisco Superior Court to have the students try their case. So the students will spend the majority of the 9 days prior working with their advisor, listening to Stanford Law School professors, and preparing to try their case. The case that we use is used by the American Mock Trial Association. It's the competition case that all the collegiate programs for the American Mock Trial Association use. So all of our advisors are very well versed in that case and have competed with that case, and in most times competed on very winning teams with that case. At the end of the 9 days, the students will travel to San Francisco Superior Court, where they will take on the role of either a lawyer for the defense, a lawyer for the prosecution, a witness for the defense, or a witness for the prosecution, while one of our advisors, not their advisor, but one of our advisors acts as the judge. They'll spend several hours trying their case in front of their advisor judge, and in the end, the advisor judge will send out a ruling. Parents are able to come and view the mock trial case. We ask that any and all parents or family that have decided that they want to come and witness the mock trial, let us know on arrival day that they will be attending, because we have to send an entire attendees list over to the San Francisco Superior Court and make sure that they have a full list of those individuals that will be there. I see a lot of questions coming through about sleeping rooms, about amenities in the dorms and things of that nature. Hold on to those. I will be going back through and making sure that we get all those answered. So now we talked a little bit about the program. Let's talk about safety and security. Safety and security is the #1 priority that we have at the Intensive Law and Trial program, and we're going to go through a number of items to help answer any questions that you may have. So scholars are led through the program and cared for in small groups of trained advisors. And we talked about our advisors. They're all, the majority of our staff are both undergrad and postgrad law school students with extensive experience competing at the collegiate level in mock trial. They're going to utilize that experience to fine-tune our scholars' abilities and to guide them through the intensive law and trial curriculum as concise as possible. So 10 days is not a whole lot of time in order to prepare our students to try their case, and that's why we make sure that all of our staff are intimately familiar with the case and can get them up to speed as quick as humanly possible. So during the first group meeting, the scholars are going to take part in a briefing on the policies and procedures of the program. This is going to include information on who to contact in case of an emergency, how attendance is kept, any off-site safety procedures, and venue safety protocols. Then they'll also practice an emergency evacuation to make sure that everyone knows where that emergency evacuation location is at, and they know who to contact and how to get there. All of our scholars also have a name badge. We ask that all of our scholars wear that name badge throughout the entirety of the program. Staff also must wear their name badge throughout the entirety of the program. And the reason we ask that scholars and staff wear those name badges is because in the back of the name badge, there are going to be several different phone numbers that scholars can call should they need any assistance throughout the program. On that name badge is also going to have their group name, their group meeting location, as well as their bus number, so that whenever they depart to go to Fisherman's Wharf or the Superior Court, everyone knows exactly what bus that they're supposed to get on. We do room checks at the end of every night. So at the end of the evening, our scholars are dismissed to their sleeping rooms. Staff then conduct room checks nightly to ensure that all students that are supposed to be in that room are in that room for the night, as well as distributing any important information for the next day's events. Once room checks are complete, scholars are asked not to leave their rooms until breakfast the following morning. Should there be an emergency and the scholar needs to leave the room at the end, throughout the evening, we ask that they call our overnight staff. We always have staff on call throughout the program, 24 hours a day, to help that scholar with whatever emergency they may have. Attendance is taken daily, several times throughout the day, including meals, during their group meetings, before, during, and after any off-site trips we have, before and after any speaking events, and then before room check is done. If there is a missing scholar, we have an emergency protocol that begins to help locate that scholar and return them to their group. Our staff ratio is 1 to 16, so there'll be 16 students in every advisor group. Outside the advisor staff, we also have a large support staff that interacts with the scholars throughout the day and ensure that the program is well equipped and provides the best experience possible. Our staff rooms are going to be intermixed with scholar rooms in the dorm, so we'll have at least one staff member, most likely multiple, that will be stationed on each hallway. And again, all scholars are given that overnight emergency program number to call if they need assistance. It's on the back of their name badge. If an incident does occur during the program, our staff is ready to spring into action. We will contact you if an incident occurs, either behavioral or medical, with your student, and all incidents are recorded and reported to the program office, and you are going to be involved in every step of the process. We consider an incident to be anything that occurs outside of the program norms, which affects your scholar and is not prearranged per the itinerary. This includes any medical issues, if there's weather impacting the schedule, lost items, any travel disruptions. Incidents may originate on site, or a parent may call into our office with a concern. Again, our phones are managed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week throughout the program, and every single incident is documented and follow-up occurs in coordination with either our on-site staff or myself or Jessica. All right, so before we start our question and answer, let's go over some important reminders. So the 4 reminders: book travel to and from the session location and complete that online travel form. It's incredibly important for us to know how your student is getting to the program and how they are leaving, so that we can make sure that we get them to the airport on time, as well as we have folks there ready to pick them up. Make sure to complete any and all required forms in the student portal. Complete any pre-program assignments. As of right now, there are no pre-program assignments. We're still waiting on any last-minute information from our Stanford Law School professors, but at this point, there's no pre-reading that needs to be done. And then finally, get ready to embark on an adventure of a lifetime. Again, thank you very much for attending the webinar. We're going to get to questions here in just a second, but I want to make sure that everybody has our admissions department numbers. Listed on the screen are both the toll-free and the local admissions department number. If you have any questions at all, please call. And if it's a question that someone from our admissions department is not able to answer, they will get that information to me, and I will reach out to answer that question. All right, so let's start going through questions here. I'm going to kind of scroll back up and start from the beginning. I see that a few of them have been answered. Can scholars bring snacks? We covered that, as long as they're nut-free. Yes, most definitely. Lots of questions about shower and bathroom situations. So scholars will use a communal bathroom, and there are communal bathrooms on each floor, and we will divide those bathrooms via whatever gender breakdown that we currently have. Linens are provided to the scholars, but any and all extra linens, any extra towels that you would like to bring with you, please do so. It is good to note that the dormitory does not have air conditioning. It's San Francisco, it's usually fairly temperate during the summer, but there are some days that it gets a little warm. In the evening, it generally cools down quite a bit, but if you would like to bring a small fan with you, please do so. Are we allowed to order food like Uber Eats? That's a good question. Yes, you can. Sometimes it's difficult for delivery to find us on campus. And also please note that we ask that scholars do not order food after room check, because again, scholars aren't supposed to be out of the room after room check. So we ask that if you're going to order food before room check at the end of the evening, you do so with plenty of time in order to pick that up. There are going to be some times in the schedule where it may not be possible to do so, but once you get your program schedule, you can talk with your advisors to start to work that out. Are we allowed during our free time to walk around Stanford's campus to look around? It's a good question. There's not a whole lot of free time that's built into the program schedule, to be honest with you. Again, we have a pretty short period of time to get folks up to speed on trying their case. There will be a few times that we will get a chance to explore Stanford's campus. We'll do a full campus tour on arrival day, followed up by a campus scavenger hunt and our group photo a couple days after. Do we need to bring any type of school supplies with us? Not necessary. Not necessary to bring any school supplies with you. If you would like to bring a laptop or a tablet, that's perfectly fine, but not required at all. What's the room situation? How do you decide who is sleeping where? So room assignments are completely random. What we do is we'll take all the students that have enrolled in the program, we'll separate those students by gender, and then we will try to group students that are within similar age groups into rooms. Stanford's campus has quads, triples, and doubles. So there are a few rooms that have 4 students sleeping in them. The majority of the rooms have 3 students sleeping in them, and then some rooms have 2 students sleeping in them. So it really all depends on what the room breakdown is that Stanford Conference Services gives us. I usually don't see that breakdown until about 14, 15 days before the program, so it's really difficult for me to say, hey, we have X number of quads, we have X number of triples, you're most likely going to be in one or the other. Hypothetically speaking, how much trouble would I get in if I put googly eyes on pictures and or objects? Yeah, so we have our student code of conduct that asks that all of our students refrain from defacing any and all property. That would be considered a major infraction, and we probably have to have a conversation with the scholar and the parents. Is that going to be recorded? We'll be in Florida and not there to see the mock trial. Sadly, no, we are unable to record the mock trial event, and that's all due to restrictions that the San Francisco Superior Court places on us. They do not, because we are using actual live working courtrooms, they do not allow any outside camera recording equipment that has not been approved individually by the judge. And we are unable to get approval from all of our judges. So as of right now, we're not able to record the mock trial event. Can I find out if someone else is coming to the program from Wisconsin so that they can travel together? That's a really good question. There is a Facebook group online where you can start to have conversations about where different folks are coming from and try to arrange travel that way. What time do you have to arrive on campus on July 24th and where we would meet? Our registration starts at 1 o'clock. That's 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and registration takes place at Carruthers Hall, which the address for Carruthers Hall is 609 Escondido Road. Do scholars memorize affidavits during the program? There's going to be a lot of information that is delivered to you during the program. Some of it will be more helpful to memorize over others, and your advisor will be able to walk you through what the best preparation. If we don't request a roommate, do we have to have one? Yep, sorry. All of our rooms are, like I said, singles, doubles, or doubles, triples, or quads. Clarification of the dress code. If you go online and look at the enrollment forms, there's a full list of examples for the dress code. How many total students generally in the program? That differs by session. Some sessions are a little bit bigger than others, but on average, we have about 240 to 250 students per program. Rooms are not co-ed. Yes, students are allowed to have their cell phones. We just ask that they don't use those phones during any program activities unless the advisor has asked them to do some research or something like that. If a student needs to take a break during, throughout the day, they should talk with our program staff just to make sure that we know where they're at, and also to make sure that there's no medical issue that we need to pay close attention to. Room check usually happens somewhere between 10:30 and 11, depending on the day, with activities starting with breakfast at 8 a.m. in the morning. How much money should I bring for food? That's, again, all of our program meals are going to be, except for one, are going to be done there on campus. So technically, you really only need to bring food for one meal off-site. Now, that's not to say that there aren't going to be times that you want to order food. I'd say it's San Francisco, and honestly, San Francisco is a little bit more expensive than other places. I'd say if you're planning on having at least one meal that is not through the dining hall, at least $25 a day. Mention wearing professional attire on the first day. Does that mean I should arrive in this attire and therefore wear it on the plane, or will we have time to change into it? You will have more than enough time to change into it. Please don't feel like you need to wear professional attire on the plane. You'll have time to change. Be comfortable while you're flying. Let's see here. Can you bring credit card instead of cash? Most definitely. Are family allowed to visit us? Yeah, most definitely. Family are allowed to visit. Now, what we do ask is that if family come to visit and they want to, take you out to a meal or something like that, or even if they just want to hang out with you on campus, we ask that you do what's called a temporary program leave. And that's just us saying, hey, we are transferring responsibility for this student from our Envision staff over to that family member. And then also knowing that anytime a family member comes to visit and a temporary program leave has been filled out, that student is no longer with the program, and we ask that they are no longer going to program activities. So let's say an aunt or uncle decides to come, wants to come visit you because they live in the area. You could not attend a speaking event with that aunt and uncle, because while you know them very, very well, the other 250 students that are in attendance at the program have no idea who that is, and we want to make sure that everybody feels safe and secure. So just to clarify, we are to fly our students to SFO Airport, and transportation will be arranged to Stanford by the program. That is correct if you opt to do that. So our airport that we will have staff stationed at is SFO. If you opt that you want your student to fly into San Jose, that's perfectly fine. Just know that we will not have staff there, and we will not have transportation from San Jose Airport to Stanford. Whenever you're going on and you're filling out all of the travel information, it will ask you to choose whether or not, if your student is arriving at the airport, it will give you the option to choose whether or not you would like to use our program shuttle. And the program shuttle is what we use to get students from the airport to the program site. So make sure you're paying close attention whenever you're filling that out. For the mock trial, we'll be playing the roles of witnesses as well as attorneys. That is correct. Can we cook? Nope, sorry, we can't cook. There's not any microwave or refrigerators or anything like that in the dorm. Are parents allowed on the campus tour? No, sadly there is not. Once the program starts, we ask that parents are no longer accompanying the student throughout the program. If there's a problem with roommates, that's something that you should talk to our staff with, and we will make sure that we get those problems handled accordingly. When do students have to be in the dorms? We're primarily in the dorms overnight. Are there any chance awards given after the mock trial? There might be. How many roles does each lawyer get? I'm not sure I quite understand that question. So your advisor will make the determination as to who is playing what role. Now, this is a really good time to talk about this when we talk about roles. A lot of folks will be assigned a witness role, and they get pretty upset about it because they don't feel like they're doing as much and they don't feel like they're playing the role as a lawyer. Anybody that has ever done mock trial will tell you that the witness role is actually the most important role of the simulation. And I'm not just saying that to make you feel better, like that's really true. The witnesses shape how the trial goes, and the witnesses can shape how the judge determines their final ruling. So the witnesses actually have a lot more preparation and play a much larger role in the mock trial event than lawyers do. In fact, the majority of our folks that are captains of their collegiate mock trial teams take the role as a witness because they know they're a little bit stronger at it. Are we allowed to take pictures inside the courtroom? Yes, photos are allowed, but if for some reason I get word from the San Francisco Superior Court that a specific courtroom is being locked down from any photos, I will let the staff member know that so that they can let any students or any family visiting know that photos are not allowed to be taken. Remember, these are working active courtrooms, so we want to make sure that we, just like with the Stanford Law School, that we are leaving it how we found it, and that we're being respectful to any and all items that are inside. Do we have to have any prior knowledge of the law? If so, what kind? No, you don't have to have any prior knowledge of the law. That's what we're here for. If you go to the Envision Experience page, the Envision Experience Facebook page, we're getting some questions about the Facebook page. You'll be able to find it there. It's the Intensive Law and Trial Group. How will we get to George Mason credits? That's a really good question. So if you opt in to get credits from George Mason University, what happens is we will, at the end of the summer, we will send George Mason a list of all the students that successfully completed the program. George Mason will then take all that information, they'll input it into their system, and then they will process their own student summer credits first, because they have to get them grades, and then they will then process our credits afterwards. So generally we get those credits somewhere around October, and what will happen is they will send you an email that will say, hey, excuse me, your credits are ready to go, and they will send you a link online so that you can go online to view, download, print out those credits. Do we offer discount airline tickets? That is not something that Envision offers. Envision is actually not a travel agency, so you're not booking your flights through us. But you know, I urge you to look around online to see what you can find. What's the situation when we get to the airport? When you get to the airport, again, all outlined in the travel information. There'll be a centralized meeting location for all of our students, and we'll have staff that is there at that meeting location to make sure that students are getting their luggage, things of that nature. Please note that our staff will not go get luggage for students and or load luggage on buses for students. You know, students are in charge of their luggage, but staff will be there, and once we have a decent number of staff members or a decent number of students there, we'll have one of our shuttles pull around, everyone will get on the shuttle and head to the program site. And then that shuttle will rotate throughout the day. There is not a list of students based off of what school they attend. There is Wi-Fi on campus. It is college campus guest Wi-Fi. It's not great. It's not the fastest Wi-Fi in the world. You can, stream Netflix at night, but it's probably going to buffer a few times. But yeah, Wi-Fi is offered. Will there be any extra time for access to sports facilities? No. So Stanford actually does not allow any of our students to utilize any of their on-campus sports facilities, like their gyms or things of that nature. So students will not have access to gyms. Do students set alarms and report to breakfast, or are we woken up? Yes, it is up to students to wake up to head to breakfast. And I'm just seeing a lot of repeat questions here that we've already answered. I want to make sure that we'll have students that are 16 to 17 years old. Yes, that's the majority of the students. What time are students? Oh, no, we already got that one answered. No, laundry detergent is not provided, and I do not believe that laundry is free in Carruthers. If you'd like, call into the admissions department and send that as a question, and I can follow up on that. The packing list is online. How long is the trip to the airport to the campus? It depends on traffic. We usually figure about a half hour to 45 minutes. What if people that work at the airport won't let you leave because you're a minor? So if you fall under the unaccompanied minor status, which the age varies via airline, please call our admissions department and let us know so that we can arrange that. All right, we've got time for just a couple more questions. Is the program solely based on the mock trial, or are there other law-related classes and lectures that we will attend? Yes. So our law school professor classes and lectures, we try to make sure that they are utilized within mock trial, but they aren't all mock trial related. So those law school professors will speak on a variety of different topics. Arrival day starts at 1 o'clock. Can my student go for a run? Yes, your student can go for a run. There is a process that we ask that all students follow. That process is that they let one of our leads know what time they will be going. We ask that they run before activities in the morning. They will need to call one of our leads to let them know that they are leaving to go on a run, and they will need to call that lead to let them know when they have returned. We also ask that the student that goes for their run is wearing their name badge at the time as well. Yes, each mock trial group gets to participate at the Superior Court. How clean are the dorms and bathrooms? They're very clean. There are enough bathrooms on the hall that you should not have to worry about, someone taking too much time. Yep, all activities on the schedule are mandatory for students. Can items be shipped to students while on campus? That's a really good question. Once we get on campus, we will actually we'll secure a PO box for any and all items to be shipped to. We just can't secure that PO box until we get on campus. What happens if a student misses a flight? Let us know. Let us know what's going on, and we'll make sure that we get it taken care of. You'll be able to call that admissions number and let us know when that flight has been rescheduled. You won't need a debit card to pay for any meals unless you order meals from off campus. Yes, there will be a recorded copy of this webinar uploaded to the student portal. Usually takes us a couple days to get those uploaded, but yes, there will be a recorded copy. All right, we're going to answer one more question. Any medical forms that need to be filled out? Yep, there sure are, and those are all in the mandatory form section of the student portal. And yes, you can wear jewelry. All right, that was an easy one. We'll answer that one at the end. Thank you very much for attending. Again, if you have any questions that I wasn't able to get to, or questions that pop up, excuse me, or questions that pop up between now and arrival day, reach out to those numbers that you see on the screen and contact our admissions department. They're going to be able to answer 90% of those questions for you. But for some reason, if it's a very program-specific question that they don't have the answer to, they will send that question to myself, and I will reach out and get that question answered for you. We are really, really looking forward to this summer. We're excited to have all of our students come in. This is a pretty amazing program, something that I've been working with for a while now, and I'm really, really proud of the program. I'm proud of how the students perform, and I'm really proud of our staff as well. So we're looking forward to having you this summer. Again, if you have any questions, reach out and ask. Have a great evening.